Hello and welcome to this week's edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, and today we're going to be learning about campaigns that convert new leads to new clients. This is part of our lead generation series where you will find additional content such as creating lead magnets, landing pages, and other components of funnels that help to grow your list and, of course, move folks on that list toward becoming your best new clients. Now, this is typically a live call. We host our live calls every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern US time. Today, however, we are live in person at a conference, and so we are unable to host live. That's why you have this scheduled recording here today. So I hope that you will join us for a future live session, but let's go ahead and get into today's training, and I'll share with you how you can join us live as well. So what we'll get into today is first how we can go about creating a campaign that works to convert new clients, how we can set your campaign up in AttractWell, and then how to connect your campaign to your funnel. So if you already have a landing page, for instance, if you already have a lead magnet, then we'll talk about how we can take this campaign and connect it so that everything works on autopilot. Now, if you would like to join us for an upcoming live session, like I mentioned before, we're hosting live on Zoom every single Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, except in one of these very, very rare occasions where we will provide you with a pre-recorded training. If you would like to work together live on one of our upcoming calls, you can go to attractwell.com/work-review. And if you need a hand with getting any of this done, we have an incredible qualified team who can help you get it done, whether it's working side by side with you, helping you migrate from other platforms, or building the website of your dreams. It's all just a couple clicks away if you go to attractwell.com/concierge. Now, question for you, do you have a funnel in place to nurture your new leads? Do you have a way to automatically grab interested people and start directing them toward the things that would serve them, and then, of course, ultimately connect them with you as someone who is your client? So let's talk a little bit about a funnel and what it is, how it works to grow your business. So I have sort of a schematic here, and this is really intended to be a big general picture of how your business works, how you attract new leads, and of course, from there, new clients and customers. Up at the top level of your business funnel, you have everywhere that you're showing up in the world where people might stumble upon you. Maybe they've searched for something on a search engine and they've been delivered a blog article of yours, or similarly, a video of yours on YouTube. Maybe a friend has forwarded a copy of a newsletter that you send out, or maybe this is someone who has actually joined your list previously, but that you have not converted yet. Maybe it's somebody who found you on a social platform, or someone who was referred to you in your warm market, or someone you met in person. If that person, after finding you and your message, is interested in what you have to say, they can become your lead, or in this case, they become qualified. Now, qualified lead is somebody who has indicated in some way that they are interested in more than just following the shallow level of content that exists out there in the world. They're interested in more of what you do. So in this instance, someone is going to take a specific action. Now, depending on how you run your business, a couple of examples here would be, first, a lead magnet funnel, which every business should have along with the website so that you can be converting leads on autopilot. If you have a Facebook group that's free to join, of course, this is a great option as well, followed by simply having one-on-one conversations, which is something that you're probably pretty familiar with doing as a means to grow your business. So once they've reached this level where they have indicated either passively or with you directly that they're interested in what you do, you're able to move them toward what I like to call a conversion event, which is often a consultative conversation. Maybe you have a strategy or discovery call. If you are more automated or you offer more leverage things, perhaps this could be a sales video or even a sales page. And then from that point, at this point of conversion, they become your client. All right, so what we're zooming in on and focusing on here is creating our lead magnet funnel. And a campaign is simply a series of emails that drips out automatically after somebody opts in on your website. So this you may be familiar with. We offer it on our homepage on attractwell.com. This is a schematic for a one-page funnel. We call it the one-page funnel blueprint. And essentially what we're showing here is all of these different traffic sources where people might find you. And then they're offered this thing that they could take advantage of for free, that they can use to get some kind of benefit that you are capable of providing. So that happens on a landing page, right? They visit this landing page, they say, yes, I want this free thing that you're offering, and they put in their name and their email. From there, they are sent to a number of different potential pages, maybe an authority page, and then of course they are sent to their email where they can start receiving emails from you. Now, what we're seeing down here at the very bottom is a campaign. It is a dripped series of messages that are going to go out to your lead at intervals. That's going to help them to get to know you better, to receive the thing that they opted for in the first place, and of course, for you to really deliver, show up, and show value so that they might be open to taking that next step when the conversion event is placed in front of them. All right, so that's what we're looking for here. So let's talk about the funnel in terms of how this works in a step-by-step format. So first, the visitor is going to make their way to your website where they're going to receive information about something that you're giving away for free, which would live on a landing page or a page on your website. So they're going to land there and they're going to put their name and their email in so that they can get that free thing that you're offering. From there, a campaign will deliver a series of emails or texts to your new lead. For the purpose of simplicity here, we are going to be focusing on email campaigns because growing your email list really is a priority here, but it should be mentioned here that text is also an option. You don't have to do either or, you can do both. And of course, there's more information in our help center on how you can do that. So once they've opted in, they're going to start receiving a series of messages from you, and those will ideally at some point present a conversion event to them. So it's an opportunity to purchase, whether that be getting on a call with you first or receiving more direct sales materials. So something like a video that pitches an offer or sending them to a sales page, etc. And then finally, of course, should they take you up on that opportunity to purchase, they purchase and they become your new client. So let's talk about what's in a new lead campaign. First is delivery of your lead magnet. Then it's introduction to you and your expertise, additional helpful content and context, meaning here's what can help you and here's why it's important. Here are some other people who have been helped in a similar way. There's also connection to your conversion event, which is an opportunity for them to buy, which could be a one-on-one call with you, like I mentioned, or a video or sales page. And then finally, what we should always have connected to a new lead campaign is an automation that's going to move this lead over to our general mailing list if they don't convert to a client inside the period of time that the campaign is delivering, which is going to happen really the majority of the time, and that's okay, but we're doing this for a purpose. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. First thing that your campaign is going to do is deliver on what you promised. They went to a landing page and they saw that there was something they could get from you for free by putting in their name and email. So we need to deliver that to them first, right? So this needs to happen in the first email. And you will see if you look at our lead magnet training from this same series that I show you there how you would connect your lead magnet to the campaign. All right. So the delivery of your lead magnet needs to happen on the first day immediately, right? So this in your campaigns is day 0. Day 0 is always immediate. And then you have whole day intervals to follow. So that would mean 24 hours later, or actually a day later, depending on the time that you set your campaigns up to send. All right. I also recommend that you link your lead magnet a second time in your campaign, just in case they missed the first one or they weren't paying attention. Make sure that you're talking about the lead magnet in that day 1, that's the following day campaign, and link to it again so that we're making sure that they get access to it. Because at the end of the day, we're giving them that thing, which should be something that's in direct context to the ultimate thing that we're trying to sell. So that's something that's going to deliver a great deal of relevance to you and your business. And ideally, it's going to provide them a great deal of value and help them, which is going to go a long way in opening them up to the idea of working with you. We'll want to make sure as well that where we're delivering our lead magnet, we're doing so alongside a story or a case study that your lead can identify with. They may have opted in to get a free thing and then gotten distracted and maybe forgotten why it was that they are even receiving emails from you, and they don't necessarily know why this is important or something that they should pay attention to right now. That's why it's really important for us to title things in a way that's really compelling to our ideal client. And then also in this case, make sure that we're providing context, right? We're delivering value, but we're giving context. So if you are sharing a guide that helps a very specific person, maybe who works in a specific field, then you want to make sure you're including maybe the story of another client with a similar story in that field who has followed the steps that your lead magnet outlines, just as an example. Another thing that you're going to want to do here is definitely briefly introduce yourself, but not a lot. We want to just share a little bit about why you created it and what it does. Again, we're just talking about our lead magnet here. This is day 0 and day 1. And then always let them know that you're just a reply away, right? If they have questions, right? If they're looking for more solutions, let them know. You read all your emails, tell them to hit reply. And then finally, let them know you'll be back tomorrow. What we're doing in this campaign is we are beginning to set expectations for them to open your emails every day. We want to build a habit with them of you, right? We're building a you habit in their inbox. So make sure that they open this email first and that they know you're going to be back the next day. And of course, that next day is day 1, where we're going to, again, link that lead magnet and provide some more context. Now, we also want to make sure throughout our campaign that we are doing some introducing of ourselves and our expertise. But remember, this isn't about you, it's about them. You should have an About Me page on your website that can go into great lengths about your story. Just pepper that in here. The goal isn't to dive completely in and tell them your life story. So we want to take it easy. If you remember, or if you've maybe ever heard the sort of analogy of like walking up to somebody in a bar and asking them to marry you, right? you don't jump into that on a first date. Obviously, you got to buy them dinner first. So what we're doing here is we're going to allow some time to really stretch out here as they get to know us, because that's how relationships work, right? Whether it's professional or otherwise. So we're going to want to sprinkle our anecdotes and stories that are about us or have to do with us, instead of sending just a big chunky about me email, right? Because that's not really what people want to read. People want to read something that's about them. It's about what helps them. They are looking for what's in it for them. And it's not selfish, it's just human nature. It's just how we think. And so we want to make sure that we're taking that sort of wiring into account here. So whenever you're sharing information about yourself, just as you would in a conversation, always consider including an invitation for them to do the same. If you've ever been in a social gathering and you've talked about yourself, you might have felt a little awkward after, right? If you maybe went on for a long time talking about yourself or a story about you. One of the easiest ways to move that out of the awkward territory is to pass that ball over, volley it over. Tell me about you. What about you, right? So always be looking for ways to include an invitation for them and a call to action for them to hit reply if you're going to talk about yourself, right? Talk about your clients, talk about case studies, but if you're going to talk about you, always ask them, especially if it's personal stuff, ask them to hit reply and share about themselves. And so hit reply is obviously first option, or if you are looking to do this in a more leveraged way and you have an established group or community where they could come and maybe share their own story, then provide them that opportunity as well. You'll find this to be the case on social media if you're looking to build goodwill and game the algorithms and build a following. Getting people to talk about themselves is one of the most validating things you can do. And it is something that's responded to very favorably. Even if they don't take you up on it, it's the emotional impact is still there. It's still going to be effective for you. Another thing you want to make sure that you're doing is including content in your campaigns. So your campaign, obviously your goal is to take someone from, I got a free thing from you, to I want to buy from you, right? And while we are really eager to see that straight line manifest, materialize in new clients, it's important again to remember that there is a relationship developing here. And even though you aren't physically or personally present for every moment and every step of it, in order for us to engage that relationship so that it grows, we have to provide something for them to work with, right? And so that means delivering content in our campaign. So it isn't just about, here's the free thing, now would you like to buy my other thing, right? So just because they've opted in doesn't mean they are ready to purchase from you yet. So that means this is your best opportunity to deliver big on value and serve first. Think about this, right? You want to be putting value out into the world like breadcrumbs, right? So that we're leading people toward your front door. Now, once somebody has arrived at your front door, which this person is your lead, they have let themselves in. Now is the time to really over deliver. This is a person who's on your list now. This is somebody who said, yes, I like what you have to say. I've seen you on social. I've read your blog post. I've listened to your podcast, or whatever that might be. That person is special to you, right? This is your friend now. We'll just in air quotes, right? There are people who are maybe acquaintances. These are people who are like, these are friends now, right? And we want those friends to become besties or clients. So what our opportunity is here is to really pour into them, love on them, just like you would your friends. And we're going to treat them a little differently and give them something a little more special than just what we put out there in the world. Okay. So what we want to make sure that we're doing when we're sharing our content in campaigns is we want to make sure that whatever it is relevant to the reason why they signed up in the first place. Remember when you're writing this campaign that they opted in to get a free thing from you. That free thing solves a problem for them, right? That free thing is something that was compelling enough for them to say, yep, I'm going to give this person my info, right? And you can glean because of the people you help that if they opted in to get that thing, they probably have a very specific problem that you can help them solve. So give them more tips, give them more information, and weave that into the campaign that you create. And if you already have articles, videos, podcasts, etc., that you can share, that they're yours, that link to your website, then put those into this campaign. Otherwise, you could just put tips and things like that in here. You don't have to link necessarily, but just make sure, again, whatever you share, that it's in context. Don't make it vanilla. Keep it specific, because the more sharp you can be in helping them solve the problem that you know that they have, the more likely it's going to be that they're going to trust you, because they see, oh, wow, this person really does get me. This person really does know what it is that I need help with. I might be interested in next steps. So don't be afraid to get specific in context, name problems, and really help provide information, again, in a value level above what you would maybe put on your blog, for instance, inside of your campaign here. Now, a final thing that we want to do, and this is something that requires just a little bit more nuance than the content, is to weave in the next step opportunities, or namely your conversion event. So we want to make sure that we are sprinkling in mentions of the thing that you sell. If you just work with clients one-on-one, which is great, you could be mentioning, when I've worked with client A, X thing happened, or one of the things I do with my clients is, verbiage like that is going to help sort of seed the idea in their mind that there is something that they could take advantage of. If you have a course or program, you could mention it here as well. This is something that I recommend kind of treating like a crescendo. We don't talk about what we're selling in those first couple of emails where we're giving something away for free. And if you have a 2-week-long campaign, which I think is a really good idea, then I probably wouldn't start introducing those things until at least the 3rd or maybe the 4th day. So when you do mention these next step opportunities, be sure to include a call to action and a link to your conversion event whenever you mention what you sell in an email. And then make sure that as you are providing these offers to take next steps, that it's operating at a crescendo. We're not jumping right in with, here's the thing that I sell on day 3. We're mentioning it. And then maybe a couple days later, there's a little bit more of a mention with maybe a little bit of a paragraph about a thing that you do or how you help. And then as we get closer to the end of the campaign, we are actually getting into more explicit sales messages, verbiage, and offers. So just make sure, again, that we're always mentioning what we sell in context with the problem that our lead magnet solves. Always remember what they signed up to receive from you, because if you go off of the path, they're going to forget who you are, why it is that they signed up, and you will have somebody who's unsubscribed and will have missed that opportunity, right? Another thing you want to make sure you do here is to include automations. So make sure that at your point of purchase, right? And this is a little separate from what we're doing here, but make sure that at your point of purchase, so when someone becomes a client or they sign up for your course or whatever it is that you're offering, make sure that at that point of purchase, you have an automation that removes this campaign we're talking about right now. Because we want to make sure that if we have a new client or customer, that they're not still getting sales messages from us. You can also attach an automation, and you must do this. I highly recommend this. Attach an automation to the last message of this campaign that will remove this campaign from the contact and tag them with general mailing list. All right, because you should be sending an email out to your general mailing list as a rule, generally speaking, at least once a week, right? And those are people who should be tagged with a tag like general mailing list. Now, when somebody first signs up, we don't want them to get those weekly emails and the campaign. We want them to just get the campaign as it's designed. So we can really tailor this experience and have them go from the intro to you, that is this campaign. And then as soon as this is over, now they're on the list where they can get the same thing that everyone else receives the next week and the next week and so on, right? So if they didn't buy, we want to move them over to that list that we're keeping engaged. Now let's talk about how to create a campaign in AttractWell. The first things first, we're not going to go to AttractWell, right? Not first. The first thing we want to do is use a word processor or however it is you like to write, and we're going to create an outline. And in that outline, you're going to plan out what you'll share in each message, right? So in day 0, we're delivering the lead magnet, and I'm going to include this story or anecdote about this client. On day 1, I'm going to include the lead magnet again, and maybe include a little bit of a personal anecdote and a story about another client or a tip or something like that. On day 3, I'm going to share a story and maybe a link to a blog post. And you see where I'm going with that? We're going to map out just generally what am I going to put in each message so that we know where things are going. The second thing you'll want to do is actually write it out. So write your subject lines and your body copy. You can do this in the same outline if you choose. And then if you want, you can use AttractWell's Write with AI feature to help you improve, excuse me, to improve your copy as you are putting that into your outline. Now, once we have that all written and we know what we're going to write for our subject lines and our body copy, we know what links we're going to share, what stories, what content, all of our stuff is gathered, then we go to AttractWell and we can create a campaign. And once we created that campaign, excuse me, we're going to paste and format our message. We're going to add links where it's appropriate and any calls to actions, etc. All right, so to create your campaign, you're going to, from your dashboard, look for campaigns under contacts, click that, and then you'll see that there is a big create button here. You can click that and you'll set up your campaign settings. Now, a couple of notes here. On the top level, we have your campaign name. On the top left, this is your name for this campaign. I would really recommend that you name this in accordance with whatever you have named your lead magnet, so that you know what this is about and what it's for. Now, you may want to tweak how it's written in the top right-hand corner where it says campaign name shown to contact. If somebody were to go and try to modify what they're subscribed to from you, this campaign will show up. And so you want to make sure that it is named in such a way that they would recognize. So in this case, you may also name it the same as the lead magnet that they have opted into, because that is something that they may recognize. For the preferred sending medium, I personally prefer to use the setting that's in this drop-down menu of email preferred. Now, if you use email preferred, and for whatever reason, they can't receive the email and you have a phone number for them, it can text instead, right? My preference is email preferred here. You can obviously make the choice for you. If you have collections of campaigns for organizational purposes, you could certainly use that here. And then these others with the text options, we're not going to fool around with that because this is not a text campaign. So go ahead and click Create Campaign and you're good to go. We'll click Write New Message to create a new message, and you can actually see what it will look like for you as you start adding messages. They will all automatically, as you add them, show up as day 0. So make sure after you've completed a message that you change. You click over on the number here where it says Send on Day and change that, then click off of it so that it can update. And these are in the correct order. Now, I do recommend that you use personalization tags. So that's where you see contact first name in brackets here. That's going to make this email send like you're writing it directly to one person, okay? And you can see here as well that I have highlighted, here's your guide, and I have hyperlinked that text. It looks a lot more nice than pasting in a really long link, so definitely consider using that feature as you format your message. Now, a couple of other things here. You can see that we have under advanced settings, if you click that, there are several options here that we can play around with. The default send time for all campaign messages is 5 p.m. Central Standard US time. Now, if you want that to be different, so maybe for instance, I live on the East Coast and I like my emails to go out at 9 a.m. because I'm reaching professionals who are probably checking their email around that time, then I want to go in and set my campaign messages from day 1 onward to deliver at 8 a.m. Central time or 9 a.m. Eastern time. So you're going to want to go and modify those if you want. Always day 0 is going to go out ASAP. It's going to go out immediately. And one other note here, you can see the send by default. If you have an email and or text setting on the campaign itself, then you can actually choose whether these messages go out via email or text. But again, I just recommend that you set this up for email because the goal here is to build an email list of people who like to open and read your emails every week. Now, finally, what we can do here, and this is under the advanced settings in your campaign as well, is to add an automation. And you want to do this in the last email. This for you should be maybe email on day 15 or 14 or something like that. And the automation here would be one that you've created that removes this campaign and tags that contact with general mailing list. All right, so you'll find the name of your automation here. And then when this last message sends, that automation will apply. So they'll receive the last message of the campaign, and then they will have that next step. All right. So let's talk about some best practices for your campaigns. First, you want to make sure that you're setting a frequency and that it's going for at least a week, ideally 2. So that means that they're going to receive a message from you every 1 or 2 days for 14 days at least, right? So 2 weeks. In each email that you create, focus on sharing one link, one link. I know you could send 14 million, but if you give people more than one choice, they're increasingly with each choice, they're exponentially more likely to do nothing than pick one. So make the choice for them, show them one link, and give them a clear call to action. And it is a good idea for your deliverability, especially if you're just starting out with building an email list, that you do have links in your emails often with clear calls to action to click, because that is going to show the email providers that you are somebody that they like to engage with. And so they're going to be more likely to receive those emails in the inbox that you want them to land in, maybe not in the promotions one, not in the spam one, the trash, etc. When you're writing these emails, do make sure that you are speaking to your best friend or to your best client on a one-on-one basis. You're not writing to you all or y'all or yous guys or wherever you're from. We are writing to a single person and addressing them directly using that contact first name tag so that we really are writing to them like we are writing an email personally. After you've written it, ask yourself, would I open this? Would I respond to this? When in doubt, grab a trusted friend and ask them, would you open this? Would you respond to this? Would you read this? And then, especially at the last email, the very last email that you send, consider using a spear email. If you are, excuse me, if you have access to the Client Funnel Challenge, then you probably know about this already, but spear email is short, specific, expecting a response. And essentially what you're doing here is you're not writing a long email. You're writing a subject line that is something to the effect of, are you still looking for help with whatever it is that you help with. And then in the email, you just say, hey, I just wanted to see if this is something that you're still interested in. If you are, hit reply, let me know, right? Just something like that, short, specific, expecting them to hit reply and respond to you. Definitely recommend that as a final message. And then you can test your messages as you've written them using this free website, mail-tester.com. You can actually send your individual emails off to them for deliverability. All right, so you can actually go and get the feedback directly from mail-tester.com, and they'll score it and tell you different ways that you might be able to modify and adjust. All right, so let's talk about how we connect our campaign to our funnel. So if you're using a page to collect your leads, so if you're offering your lead magnet from a page on your website, it could be your home page, a dedicated page to sell the lead magnet. You're going to click the settings button on the page and then navigate to the leads tab, scroll down to find the campaign field, and then select yours from the drop-down menu. Similarly, if you're using a landing page, slightly different, more pared down feature in AttractWell, you can click the settings button in landing pages and then locate the campaign field. Select yours from the drop-down menu. It looks like this on a page. We'll click settings. That will open up page settings here. Click the leads tab and then scroll down, and you'll see after a lead registers, do the following. That's where you're going to go and select your campaign. And if you're using landing pages, it's a bit more straightforward. You click settings and then you can click the campaign here to find the one that you've created. Now, if you're an AttractWell member, there is so much more where this came from. We have in-depth training, templates, and more. I know I mentioned the Client Funnel Challenge, but everything that you need to know, from setting up your brand, growing your list, having your website look the way you want it to, all the way through to growing and scaling what it is that you offer, you're going to find in the AttractWell Launch Challenge. And it references and shares training from all of the trainings that we have provided. So if you are an AttractWell member, make sure that you go over here to My Account Settings, click the AttractWell Launch Challenge, and get access to this, because you're going to find the step-by-step blueprint for you in there. All right. I am so glad that you were able to sit with me and learn about campaigns today. And I so hope that you will come back and join us for next week's call. We'll see you then. Have a great week.